Injuries in sports are like death in taxes. Freak injuries, non-contact injuries, disgusting injuries, head injuries, arm injuries, the occasional funny injury. A few athletes are even defined by their injuries. But if you ask me, the term injury prone has become one of the most overused in all of sports. Take a look at this list of players. How many of these guys would you consider injury prone? I'll give you a few seconds to think it over. Okay. Would you call me crazy for saying that these are the only injury-prone players on this list? I don't even consider Jacob deGrom to be injury-prone. This is a tough sell, but hear me out. I promise it'll make sense. So what exactly do I mean when I say injury-prone? But first, thanks to Arena Club for sponsoring this video. From Pokemon and baseball cards in elementary school to baseball video game cards in high school, ripping packs has always been a great time. The thrill of knowing a Mike Trout rookie card or holographic Pokemon card might be at the bottom of the pack. Nothing beats that. If you want to feel that thrill again or get back into collecting, Arena Club's slab packs are here for you. Slab packs are the perfect combination of digital convenience and nostalgia. Pick between Pokemon and your favorite sport. My money's on baseball. The cool thing about slab packs is that they show you every single hit rate for every single card available, and let it rip right on the Arena Club website or the app. Torque! As you can see, every time you open up a slab pack, Arena Club makes you an instant offer based on the card's market value. No guessing, no waiting. An instant 90% offer right on the spot. Right now, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase at arenaclub.com/ATB with code ATB. That's arenaclub.com/ATB. And use code ATB for 20% off. Thanks, Arena Club! On February 12th of this year, the day he reported to spring training, the Angels announced that Anthony Rendon needed a serious hip surgery. I don't think Rendon will play a single game in 2025. He might not play another MLB game again, and that probably doesn't surprise you. Rendon is widely considered the laziest player in baseball.
We gotta shorten the season, man. It's too many dang games.
He was excellent through 2019, signed a massive contract with the Angels that offseason, and hasn't cared about the game since. At least that's the narrative. It's a long-running joke at this point that Rendon would rather play as few games as possible. And trust me, I get it. This guy's missed so much time that it's completely fair game to joke about. But it's not like he's volunteering to undergo hip surgery just because he'd rather miss the games. No matter his indifference or lack of passion,
that's never been a top priority for me. This is a job.
I think he'd still rather be playing than rehabbing from surgery. But I can't blame fans for thinking the contrary, because this dude went from playing pretty much every day to never playing at all. Rendon joined the Angels for the 2020 season, where he played 52 of 60 games. He was excellent that year, leading the Angels in both popular flavors of WAR. This was after 7 years with the Nationals, where Rendon went on the injured list just 4 times. From 2016 to 2020, he spent just 23 days on the IL, playing 637 out of 708 games. It's not like he was Cal Ripken Jr., but 90% of games is a full, healthy season for a position player by today's standards. So where did it all go wrong? Rendon played 8 of the Angels' first 9 games in 2021. Then he went on the injured list with a minor groin strain. He missed 11 games, got right back on the field, played 7 more games, then went back on the IL with a bruised knee. Alright, these can be painful. Let's just be thankful it's not broken. He only missed the minimum 10 days in 9 games. Anthony Rendon was back. And he's struggling mightily as we enter July. And he just left the 4th of July game early. Great. Minor hamstring strain, expected back after the All-Star break. Anthony? What's going on? Alright, Joe Madden says he's healing slowly. 2 more weeks? Alright, where the hell is this guy? What? Hip surgery? He's out for the year? Where the hell did this come from? Rendon played just 6 more games in the full 2021 season than he did in the shortened 2020 season. The hip apparently bothered him all year long and was the culprit for both the groin and hamstring injuries. The good news is, we have one bad hip to blame for those injuries, and probably his lack of production. Let's put that behind us. We're on to 2020. Ah, yes, the new season is going swimmingly. No, Rendon's not playing well. but he's playing baseball games. At least until May 26th, when he went on the IL with right wrist inflammation. But he only missed about 2 weeks. He's back. And he's gone. Surgery on the wrist. His season's all but done. Just 2 weeks after going under the knife, Rendon got involved in a brawl with the Mariners, earning himself a 4-game suspension on top of the IL stint. He actually did return at the end of the year to serve the suspension and play the last series of the season. For those keeping track at home, that's 47 games played in 2022. A career low, for now. Alright, this bit is tired.
You called me a bitch, huh? Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, mother.
Rendon tries to smack a fan the first week of the season, suspended 4 games. But he's hitting well. Is he back? No. Pulled groin in May, IL. Bruised wrist in June, IL. Bruised shin in July, IL. Wait, actually that shin is fractured. Season over. 43 games. A new career low. Yeah, left hamstring strain, IL. Wait, actually it's a high-grade tear, 60-day IL. See you in July. Welcome back strain, IL. Welcome oblique strain, IL. Season's over. Rendon played 57 games, nearly a high watermark with the Angels, but he was actually terrible this time. He didn't homer once in 2024. Keeping his home run total since the start of 2021 at 13. In that same time span, Rendon has had 14 injured list stints or suspensions. $245 million spent on more stints missing games than home runs. Based on the attitude he's had with the Angels, I can't blame their fans for thinking that he's not pushing himself to play or that he's not taking his conditioning seriously. At this point, Rendon's conditioning mobility are probably in the can because he's been hurt so much. It's a snowball effect. How can he train properly and keep sound mechanics when his body has been through so many strains, sprains, and surgeries? A player suffering multiple isolated injuries over the years isn't what makes him injury prone. A lot of the time, injuries are just bad luck, and then the player heals and gets back to where they were before being hurt. But in Rendon's case, injuries have directly led to more injuries. That's my distinction. When injuries beget further injuries, that is injury proneness. My captain Aaron Judge is a perfect example of someone who's missed plenty of time just purely based on luck. For years, the conversation surrounding Judge always started with if he can stay healthy. That's somewhat understandable, since Judge missed about 120 games from 2018 to 2020. The difference between him and Rendon is the injuries themselves. Judge broke his wrist when he was hit by a pitch in 2018, missing about 6 weeks. He missed nearly 2 months in 2019 after straining his oblique on a swing. He also broke a rib diving for a ball in September of that year, but played through it during the playoffs. Then, he missed about a month in 2020 with a calf strain. Since then, the only time he's been on the IL have been for COVID in 2021, a minimum stint for a hip strain in 2023, then an extended stint when he broke his toe on this play later that year. He's missed significant time during 4 of his 8 MLB seasons, but he's only gone on the IL 3 times with soft tissue injuries. His only soft tissue injury since 2020 was a minimal 10 days off. Judge's injuries have never resulted in surgery, and they have not led to more injuries or diminished ability on the field. I'm not saying that he can't get hurt, because he certainly can, and he has. That's where the whole conversation around injuries gets muddy. On the individual level, it's almost impossible to predict future injuries for 99% of players. A guy like Rendon, who's suffered every soft tissue injury under the sun and undergone multiple surgeries, is in worse physical condition than the average MLB player, so he's more likely to get hurt. The same goes for guys like Mike Trout or Byron Buxton. Giancarlo Stanton hasn't missed quite as much time as those 3, but his injuries have drastically limited what he can do on the field. If he tried playing like 2017 Stanton, he'd probably miss more time, so he's also injury prone. As far as we know, Judge has healed from every injury he's ever had, and he's able to train like normal. Even though he's missed significant time with injuries throughout his career, he isn't more likely to get hurt than the average player, and he just played a career-high 158 games and had his best season to date. Once upon a time, he had the injury-prone tag from fans and media alike, but it's apparent that that was never warranted. Pitchers take our understanding about injuries to a whole new level. It's almost impossible for pitchers to play through mild to moderate issues the same way position players can. Just one injury can knock a pitcher out for a big chunk of the season, even if it's not structural. A few injuries to a starter over a few years can establish their reputation as high risk. Zack Wheeler was considered injury prone all throughout the first half of his career. That reputation is based on a grand total of 3 injuries. He tore his UCL and got Tommy John surgery in spring of 2015. Then he strained a flexor tendon while rehabbing in 2016. Last but not least, he suffered a bicep stress reaction once he got back to the majors in 2017. That's a 3-year window where he only appeared on a major league mound 17 times. But in reality, he had 1 serious injury and then 2 more residual injuries while he was building his arm back up. Even after 2 excellent seasons in 2018 and 2019, completely injury-free, Wheeler's free agency market was not as strong as it should have been. He signed with the Phillies for 5 years and $120 million. That's less than half of what Steven Strasburg got that same offseason. At the time, Wheeler's perceived injury risk was much higher. Now, he's seen as a workhorse, and Strasburg has thrown only 30 innings since signing that contract. Pitchers are injury prone until they aren't, or they're workhorses until they get hurt. One single injury can completely derail a pitcher's career, which is exactly what happened to Strasburg. Across his first 2 and last 7 MLB seasons, Wheeler missed roughly 10 total starts. A single UCL injury plus a few road bumps while rehabbing completely spooked the league. He's successfully erased the injury-prone tag from his legacy since joining the Phillies. Our last 2 pitchers have every chance to do the same. As I was writing this video, I ran a few Twitter polls, asking my followers whether or not they thought the players I mentioned were injury prone. Each poll got about 500 responses. Rendon, Buxton, and Trout all got roughly 90% yes. Aaron Judge got 80% no. Zack Wheeler got 95% no. Chris Sale got almost 50-50. Sale is older than Zack Wheeler, and his health struggles are much fresher in the mind of fans. But we just saw with Sale's Cy Young 2024 how fickle injury proneness can be. In his first 9 MLB seasons, Sale only spent about 10 weeks on the IL. Most of that was between a 2014 flexor strain and 2018 shoulder inflammation. He missed the last 2 months of the 2019 season with elbow inflammation. Then he got Tommy John surgery the next spring. His next 4 years were nothing short of a mess. Sale got back at the tail end of the 2021 season, but he only pitched 2 games the following year because of a plethora of broken bones. Sale missed about 2 months in 2023 with a throwing shoulder stress reaction, but then he made 29 starts in 2024, winning the pitching triple crown like nothing ever happened. This time last year, Sale probably would have gotten 90% yes on the injury proneness poll, just like Jacob deGrom got this year. I see deGrom as nearly identical to Sale, and that's not limited to injuries. Both of them are tall, wiry pitchers who went to Florida schools. deGrom even homered off Sale in a college game. There are 2 main differences. First of all, Sale was a big-name prospect who made MLB by 21, while deGrom was still playing shortstop at that age. When deGrom converted to the mound, he had Tommy John surgery early in the minors. That's the second difference. deGrom has undergone 2 UCL repairs. For all I know, that could be the difference between injury-prone and not, but their injury histories since making MLB are so similar that I couldn't help but make the comparison. deGrom didn't spend more than the minimum 15 days on the IL for the first decade of his career. He got nerve surgery in his throwing elbow at the very end of 2016, but it was a relatively minor, non-structural procedure. After making nearly every start for 4 straight years and winning 2 Cy Youngs, deGrom missed the second half of 2021 with forearm inflammation. Nothing was wrong structurally, but it was a precursor for future elbow issues. deGrom missed the first 4 months of 2022 with a stress reaction in his throwing shoulder. Then he got Tommy John surgery midway through 2023. That sounds like a lot in a 3-year window, but it's really just 2 issues. The forearm strain and UCL tear are indicative of the same problem. too much repetitive force on the forearm and elbow. The stress reaction was a result of too much force on the shoulder. All of these issues are results of overuse or too much stress on the arm. Essentially, Jacob deGrom was throwing too hard for his own good. His fastball and changeup velocities ticked up significantly every year from 2016 to 2021, and he was throwing the hardest slider in the sport. While the velocity undoubtedly makes him a better pitcher, it's possible that his body just can't handle the force of throwing that hard as a starter. If deGrom sits a few miles per hour below his max velo, he should be able to preserve his arm long term while still getting elite results. Similarly to Sale, I don't see deGrom's past injuries as limiting. He's got a newly reconstructed elbow. If he goes out and averages 99 in his fastball again this year, then he probably does have above average injury risk. But if he's sitting 96-97, I don't think the injury risk is especially high. I don't want to get misconstrued. I'm not saying deGrom can't get hurt this year. If you're leaving the classic "this video aged like milk" comment after he did, thanks for the engagement. Pitching is such an intense motion that arm issues can arise at any time for any pitcher. Garrett Cole is getting Tommy John surgery now. Before his elbow issues last year, he went nearly a decade without a serious arm issue. If deGrom goes down again, I don't think his previous injuries had anything to do with it. This guy threw over 200 innings 3 straight seasons before COVID. I know that was a long time ago at this point, and he's only gotten older since, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has a healthy season this year. I'm sure the Rangers will limit his innings and take it slow, with hopes of keeping him ready for October. But if he turns in 140 or 150 innings this year, that might be enough to earn some Cy Young votes. And when that happens, check back in next spring for the next injury proneness poll. Let's see what everyone thinks then. Whether you found this video informative, entertaining, or infuriating, consider subscribing down below for free. It helps me out a ton and would be much appreciated. Shout out to my channel members Misty, Zach, Adam, Epic, Vikram, Alex, and Peyton, who got to watch this video early. They also got access to my spreadsheet of player injuries that I used for this video. If you want to support the channel financially, get early access to videos, a shout out at the end, and access to the spreadsheets, hit that join button down below for $4 a month. It would be greatly appreciated. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.